Hello everyone, welcome to a wonderful matchup in the main tournament for ALTTPR 2022. This is Group B. This is a matchup between Spy or Spyweaver and SeanRhapsody. I am Hammer Bro in the booth and I am joined by JP. How are you doing today, man?
Doing alright. Looking forward to a delicious matchup here. We'll have to get some. I'm trying to make puns, but I can't. I get off the roof brisket.
It's okay. I'm sure that we'll be able to grill something on. Give it a little bit of time. But yeah, this is our key sanity mode, which is basic keys. Everything is shuffled except for the Aga Tower Smalls, and the GT Big Key is going to be in GT. So for those of you who favor the GT Big Key guessing game, no worries, you'll still get that.
Also joining us today is Dracion Tracking, who is currently fighting with the bots and celebrating an anniversary for tracking.
Yeah, that bot does what it wants to do, but you know. Alright, and we are underway. Both starting... Nope, Spy starting at the house, pulls a glove, and we have a small key to TR for Sanctuary. That's kind of an interesting key to find early on. Spy not getting lucky with that 50-50 rock in front, so he's going to take the sign and beat up on a poor blue guard. Meanwhile, we'll see if Sean decides to go check Lumberjack or not. Looks like that's what we're going to do.
Ooh, nice tape bomb pull from the tree.
Yeah, that is one of the best Tier 1 pulls here, and I'm pretty sure Sean's going to be getting it too, so both of our runners will have early bombs. That'll be helpful for Kakariko.
Did not see what... Oh, Crab just had hearts.
Yeah, hearts for the crab, $5 from the uncle, and powder from the chest there. So if we can pull a hammer, we can check the magic bat early. Otherwise, that's just going to be a safety for us for now.
Spy not saving and quitting his... Oh, he's got 10 bombs. Yeah, I see it. He's going to do Hyrule Castle with 10 bombs.
Yep, I know this is something he has practiced quite a bit, as Sean decides to forego the $20 that was in the mushroom spot there, so hopefully he'll put a good outing here. Well, skipping 120 and you get another one in the forest, so...
Skipping 20s this early can actually be a little risky just because you're not sure if you're going to find money.
I definitely agree, especially in Key Sanity. I feel like in a regular seed, there's more filler stuff that you're guaranteed to get early. But with the capabilities of grabbing, you know, maps, compasses, small keys, big keys, anywhere, you're less likely to come out with that $100 for the bottle vendor. And there's no way to check what he has until we actually have the money, so potentially leaving a spot early.
We'll get the cat checks from Sean as Spy continues through the castle. Alright, we see a hook shot on Sean's side and a cape on Spy's side.
Spy having a little bit of difficulty with these bombs, and a very oblivious blue guard.
Also had Sean pull Samaria out of the hut.
Yeah, so overall, with that hook shot, Soma, and 2 big 20s, that kind of helped us out for Bottle Vendor and gave us a little bit of progression. That's 2 Dark World maps. Now we have a Pod one and a Turtle Rock one to check.
Got a bottle for the kid. Well, that's about all that's in there. First big key we see is Hyrule Castle, but that's not what we're going to count for this prediction.
Alright, just a compass from the bottle vendor, so not a well-used $100 there, but, you know, you do what you can. Spy, meanwhile, going to go ahead and finish up as much of this escape as possible. Going to go ahead and do the back. There'll be 3 items back here. Nice full magic drop from the rat there, as Sick Kid just hands us some arrows. Nice flute out of the back of escape, so that'll be kind of nice.
And there's some blue mail. No hammer, though, so Spy will not be able to check powder when he makes his trip through.
Yeah, that blue mail is really nice, especially because both our runners are still sitting on 3 hearts, which is somewhat unusual after coming out of Kakariko. In spite of what I said earlier for Sean, we did not get a check for Lumberjack for either of our runners, so... Alright, 20 bucks on the race game, so that was a nice call by Sean to not go ahead and dip that. A lot of people in Key Sanity will just go after that item because the odds of being useful are much higher.
Well, we did see Lumberjack goes a heart container.
Oh, did we? Okay, I just missed it then. That's nice, at least that's out of the way. We'll only have to worry about Agahnim for... or Aga for Dark World access then, and not for potential small key or big key or something on Lumberjack Ledge.
You know, if Sprite Shuffle ever becomes a thing in this game, it would not surprise me if someone decided to swap Agahnim and Agahnim.
You'd have to do some resizing, but yeah, that would be really interesting. I always felt like in the vanilla game, Agahnim was kind of a grumpy miser, so it would, you know, it would kind of fit the theme, I feel like.
Alright, so we've got some nice items so far, but nothing toward... Well, we got a glove towards Dark World access, but that's it so far.
Yeah, right now I feel like our next most likely thing is to maybe pull a lamp out of somewhere and give us access to a bunch of stuff up the mountain, perhaps?
Well, actually, these runners individually don't have much access, but together they do. Once Spy gets his hook shot, he can go up the mountain.
Yeah, that's a good point. I completely forgot about the flute that was pulled.
Okay, some flippers. Unfortunately, not nearly enough money for Zora.
Yeah, not unless either Ice Rod Cave or the Man Under the Bridge give us something. We're going to be quite a bit short on rupees.
Spy, on the other hand, also picked up a 300 pack, I believe, in Hyrule Castle, so once he gets those flippers, he'll have that option.
Yeah, the problem is that he's going to drop 100 here due to the bottle vendor, so he might be a little bit short as well, but depending on what our stun prize and such is, he may have a chance of grabbing it.
We've also always got this rock here that gives 20 per trip.
Yeah, that's fair, but that's just, ugh. Unless you only have to do that like once or twice, that's just not a fun thing to do.
There's a sword for Sean.
Alright, Spy not happy about spending $100 there. Goes ahead and drops a bomb by the bottle vendor as well.
Maybe if this was MC Boss Shuffle, he would have been happy with that.
Yeah, that's fair. The compass does have a use in that mode. No boss shuffle here though, so compasses are unfortunately not as useful.
There's a pearl, and there's our first big key to pod. Well, there was a good beat that Sean had.
Yeah, gold be good for 100 rupees if you turn it into the vendor, but Sean probably much more happy to get that that red cube.
And the ledge, just a map.
Spy has dropped his second bomb in Hyrule, so our merchant and our sick kid not giving Spy what he wanted today. But hey, we are closer to Dark World now. Just need a glove or a hammer. Preferably the hammer. Makes things a little bit easier.
Spy is rushing the race game, so he'll be a little disappointed.
Honestly, with as close as he is to Zora money, he might just go ahead and grab that 20.
Well, Sean finds a second sword.
Wow, okay, so that's another option. We could just have a lamp for Dark World access too.
Actually, yeah, we could. We're getting that Dark World starter package.
Yep, because that would be access into Aga, everyone's favorite way into the Dark World. And unfortunately, because this is not a full-on key sanity, the small keys in Castle Tower are not shuffled, so you can definitely go up there.
But yeah, we do still have the mountain to check. We also still have what's behind Saha here.
Yuck! Green Pendant Thieves Town is... it's not my favorite. I mean, maybe some people like it, but then it kind of gives you the... Do you go in? Do you not go in? How much do you do? Small key to desert. That's kind of interesting. We also did get a map to Hera. I believe that's the first Light World dungeon we're going to have knowledge of once we get a map check.
By dodging the crabs, they'll do a heart of damage to him.
Yeah, not nearly as deadly on Blue Mail as if he were on Green Mail. They'd just take him out. 2 hearts. It's not what he has left, but even on Blue Mail, not friendly. And Sean goes ahead and pulls that flute out of the back, so now he kind of has his direction that he can go in. I imagine the difference for Sean and Spy here, one of the big differences, is that Sean is probably going to last location the front of Escape, since at this point, if it's looking like an Aga seed, you know, you're not going to go do front of Escape and then go do something else and then go do Aga.
In front of Escape did not really have anything, I think. So.
Yeah, no. Outside of the powder and the cape, I believe, which at this point are useful but not going to give us progression.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, if we get access to powder, then we have the hammer, in which case the powder for immediate Dark World access purposes is useless.
Oops.
Moldorm's gonna Moldorm. Meanwhile, Sean's gonna go ahead and grab Agahnim's Cave as well.
Now, Spy is at 428 rupees. Let's see what he does. And he's just going to go over to Saha, maybe in Eastern, potentially.
If he goes into Eastern, that would be a really interesting play. I feel like you don't jump into Eastern with access to everything off the mountain, but, you know, if there's something there, then I'm an idiot, so we'll see how it works out.
Well, Sean's first up the mountain. Yeah, right now the big difference... Spy's not happy with anybody here, is he?
No, he's not. I think the only person he didn't drop a bomb on yet or make happy slashes at was Agahnim, so...
And that might have just been because Agahnim was too far out of the way.
That's fair.
Just a $20 tip for saving the old man.
And at this point, we are looking for a hammer or mitts. Or if you're particularly a fan of making our runners do Aga, then you're looking for a lamp.
Oh, there's a map check. We saw Crystal Hera.
Yep, Crystal Hera, that's unfortunately all we've got right now for the light world.
So 8 checks coming up in Eastern Death Mountain.
Yep, 7 in Paradox, 1 in Spiral, and then if they can get their hands on either a mirror or a hammer, we'll probably have some sort of clearing of Hera. Technically out of logic, but, you know, Hera potting is the thing.
Beyond the mountain, though, we've still got Eastern. We've got Zora. That might be it.
Yeah, we have Eastern and Zora, and then all the rest of the flippers checks for Spy, and the front of Escape for Shot. So we're kind of narrowing stuff down here. If there's nothing here in Paradox Cave, then we don't have much left.
Oh, there's Mitts. There's your Dark World access.
Yeah, that's also a bow. Makes things kind of interesting, actually. It doesn't immediately help for Eastern, but it does make Pod a little more available early on. We do have full Dark World access now between the Mitts and the Flippers, so we won't have to worry about Aga unless something truly ridiculous like Hammer on Pyramid Fairy shows up, which is unlikely.
Yeah, I think that's the only way it would be logical, and these runners might even know a way to get around that.
Right, especially with that bottle in hand, we might have a way to revive or otherwise dupe the bomb.
Looking through what we've got, still not like an obvious dungeon to dive right now.
No, the kind of interesting thing that I'm more concerned about at this point is that Sean is going to be able to check Hookshot Cave, and Spy will not be able to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Spy has not been to the waterfall to get his mitts yet. But on the flip side, though, Moon Pearl. But on the flip side, when Spy gets his Moon Pearl, he can check Zora that Sean had to leave behind.
Exactly. Okay, so we got a red crystal over at TR and a regular crystal for Pod, so we are still on the lookout for our other 2 pendants. And it looks like Spy might not even be doing Super Money.
It looks like he's going to make the Zora check, so he'll get his Moon Pearl here pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You don't necessarily want to get into the Dark World and do half of your Dark World checks over here as we pull Bombos and $5 out of there. When you don't have a whole lot left, like I was saying.
There's a boundless medallion needed for Turtle Rock.
Something medallion required under the mat, something.
Well, Sean, get a small key here to Swamp. Okay, that's actually a pretty nice find.
Yeah, that's one of those absolutely required small keys. Well, unless Swamp is one of our 2 pendants, then you're not going to be happy about finding that, but, you know.
Yeah. We'll see if Spy finds anything interesting on Zora here.
Yeah, this one is going to be interesting, especially with the Mire still kind of hiding out, because okay.
Well, we're about to find out if that's needed. As Sean's going to check the Mire requirement.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting coinciding here. Nope, bombos for both. Okay.
Okay, so that quake will not impact him at all.
Alright, that's another Dark World map. Meanwhile, Spy is headed straight into Village of Outcasts.
Sean did have the option to dip Mire, but no fire source and no big key means you're getting the best 4 chests, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mire is far more lucrative in key sanity with 8 checks total, but without that fire source and without the big key, you're kind of hamstringing yourself. And Mire also isn't fun with 4 hearts, so you know, there's that too.
There's another dungeon. We have a Crystal at Ice Palace.
Personally, I prefer getting knowledge of the pendants as early as I can. This seed not really giving us that. Spy waiting for his lift while Sean is going to be entering the same room here momentarily. A little bit of a high five.
You can go steal the key over in the over under the pot here. It'll just mean they'll need to pick up a small key at some point, but use the pretty standard play.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is either skip a bunch of checks over here or not skip a bunch of checks and then run the very likely risk of having to like save and quit out of here. Alright, so Spy now has pod money, and there is a 3rd sword. So that's going to be Spy's master, and it's going to be Sean's temper here in just a moment. Big key to TR is kind of interesting. Don't we have access? We have 1 small key or 2?
1.
I feel like we're getting ready access to TR a bit earlier than we normally do. Like I feel like we're slowly amassing the pieces.
Oh, that was probably a misstep by Spy there.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate fall. Thankfully with the flute, it's not too bad, but it's still going to cost him a little bit of time. That's what happens when you try to get cute around the Skullwoods holes. Sometimes they just suck you in, and then you're like, no, I didn't want to fall. I don't have a key. Crap.
10 bombs on the bumper ledge, so Sean not having that cape's not going to hurt him.
Yep. Really now the only thing that that Spy has right now is that powder, so unless we can pull a mirror or a hammer, that's not really going to be relevant just yet. And actually without the mirror, we don't have any info on how useful Swamp might end up being for Sean. With that Swamp small, so.
We've got Green Pendant Thieves Town, but no big key, so you're only doing the front 4. But you'll do either way.
Yeah, no big key here does make that decision easy, at least. Back-to-back compasses for our runners. Spy pulls Eastern out of Sea Hut as Sean grabs, I believe it was Swamp. Well, there's another one. Hera compass in the brewery. Does Chess Game have one for us too?
We'll find out in a minute. Guess they call us Village of Outcasts for a reason, and compasses are outcasts.
In a non-boss shuffle mode, you are indeed correct. That small key to pod puts us up to 2, I believe.
Yep. 2 plus, they both have the big key. No hammer yet, though, so it's not a completable pod.
Right, and that hammer would also make the bow quite a bit more useful. So with the bow, you can check those two, but if you have bow and hammer, then you can just forego that front door.
I will say at the current setup that they're at, this is starting to feel like a hammer and Mire seed.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that feeling, but I didn't want to say it out loud. The other hope is that we can pull it out of Hype Cave, but Hammer and Ice Palace is also kind of gaining a little bit of steam with those flippers and bombos and.
Yeah, there are some really ugly spots the hammer can be right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, until we grab that, movement is just going to be unfortunate, honestly, for the Dark World. How about some health, though? Both our runners still stuck on 4 hearts at 27 minutes.
Got a big key to Hera. Well, you don't have access to Hera yet, so.
Right, I was just saying, maybe it's a good thing we didn't pull that mirror or hammer up on Death Mountain. Sean making the Smith grab. That's interesting, because that means that he will, well, at least foreseeably, it's not his plan to go into pod at this point. He can still go into pod at this point. If he heads into the pod area, Kiki will just overwrite the Smith, but Spy doing the same thing, so.
This is always a tough call in this situation. Because yeah, you gotta make your decision. Are you gonna go for like the Smith chain, or are you gonna go for you're gonna go for a pod?
Yeah, I'm personally not a fan at all of mirrorless Smith chain, as we do see that Swamp is the other 5/6, so that Swamp small key in Hookshot Cave absolutely going to be required. Nice red goo out of the first check here in Hype.
Oh. Extend those chances for that hammer and Mire.
Yeah, our checks have gone from 4 to right now 5, logically 6 total. Because if we can do Mire Dark Rooms, which it's kind of iffy with 4 hearts, honestly. But if Sean is comfortable with it, then we're looking at 6 items here. A fire source would give us the full 8. Did Spy skip Hype Cave?
No. Did he? I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't see the stuff on our tracker, so maybe he did.
Right, I was gonna say, based on based on that and the fact that he caught up quite a bit there, makes me think that he potentially skipped it. But...
Chat asking about if Mire needs small keys, and logically, no. Actually, it does not. The only thing I think that's logical locked behind small keys and Mire is the 2 chests on the left side. There might be like another chest or 2 that's locked by keys, but to beat it, you do not need any small keys.
Right. That's one of the weird nuances of Mire, is that they really genuinely gave that dungeon a bunch more smalls than are required to do really anything in there. Also, keep in mind we do have the wonderful fish room small key that is just readily accessible. So that's also an option. Sean did grab the small key to pod from the catfish. That is an item location that Spy did not go grab.
It's up to 3 pod smalls.
Yeah, and at this point, both of those checks, and honestly Ice Palace, are all checks you really don't want to do without a hammer.
That's not a small key you wanted to see.
It doesn't really mean anything yet without the Thieves Town big, but yeah, that's not, especially with Thieves Town being green, you're like, I don't want to see that.
I mean, now that means if you do find the Thieves Town big, the hammer can be behind Thieves Town, which nobody likes.
No, especially because you don't want to willingly go into the green pendant to hope that Sahasrara or Blind has the hammer, which would be ridiculous, but I've seen it before.
We're starting back at Village of Outcasts. This is their only portal for the time being, so they kind of have to start here.
Yeah, it looks like Spy is headed towards Purple Chest, if I had to guess, and I believe Sean's going to be going the same way. Which is kind of interesting. I think I would definitely prefer the pod play, but I have a personal vendetta against with the chain, especially without a hammer, or without a mirror. Although not having the hammer doesn't help either, so.
Where is Spy walking the chests?
Probably to Hype Cave if he didn't check it the first time.
Yep, good points. He probably realized that right after we left, and like, oh, he's probably mad at himself.
Most likely. And I'm not gonna lie, at this point, if he gets to this point and the answer is pod, he's going to be very displeased, because that's going to mean a third long walk from Village of Outcasts, as it looks like Sean is going to be making the Mire play. So we're going to have some new stuff here.
Now he just fluted to 6 to walk over to to walk over to Gary from here, which is a little longer, I think.
Yeah, I imagine he meant to hit it one more time or one less time, and then it was just kind of like, well, I'm here, we'll just do it. Small key to Hera, okay. So we have all the keys for Hera once we get access to it. Oh, this is... No, maybe not. I was going to say, this is going to be an interesting play. We have not checked Eastern yet, and there are 4 checks in there, even without the big key. Never mind.
So back to our little portal. This is a tough one, because you could go to Pod and get a bunch of stuff right now, but logically, you don't have a lamp, you don't have 4 keys. It's a bit iffy. Mire, you can go in and do a bit, but logically you can't beat that either.
And you don't really want to mess with that dark room with 4 hearts, I feel like.
Yeah, that too. I mean, Ice Palace isn't available for Spy because he has no way to go in. He's gonna go check Hobo, which has the sword, so it'll get tempered.
Yeah, I feel like we have 3 sets of checks at this point, and you just have to pick one.
Yeah, basically. Well, actually, I would even say 4. Pod, Mire, Ice, or Eastern.
That's fair. Yeah, I figure at this point, if our runners haven't done Eastern yet, they're not going to. They're going to do that last, or when we see an Eastern big, then we'll go do that.
Just the map up here. Spy has not done Dark Death Mountain yet, so he's going to go do that.
Yeah, which will actually be nice, because that will give him Bombos, so that will open up Mire and Ice Palace to him. But it looks like Sean is going to be doing Pod, unless I get juked out once again, which is definitely possible.
I mean, item-wise, this is the most dense. In terms of logic, not a lot in here is in logic, but you do have a lot of density here.
So the shooter room's definitely within logic, right? The 2 on the right are definitely within logic. You only need 1 key to get to Stelphos Basement and the bridge. So that's 5 right there. I believe that with 3 keys, the Rupee Dark or the Terrapin room would be in logic even without a fire source. So that would be a 6th. Technically, we can still get 2 in the Rupee Basement, even though that's out of logic without a fire source. And then all the rest of it, I believe, is locked behind 6 small keys. Sean, I'm pretty sure, is going to be able to get somewhere between 8 and 12 checks out of here. So it's a good call. I feel like even logically, it probably has the most that you can do, outside of the fact that you cannot complete this dungeon, so you're kind of setting yourself up for a double dip unless you get really lucky and pull a hammer out of here. I think the safe play, if you could even call it that, would be to go into Mire, and that's only if you felt really secure in your execution for it, because you're going to be able to complete that dungeon. Out of logic, to be sure, but that's not going to be a double dip unless you're going to double dip for those 2 items, which is not a guaranteed double dip, whereas this is, unless Pod's a pendant.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I feel like Mire's a little safer here. Pod's the dense check. Ice is kind of if you're feeling like you need a play.
Right. Ice is definitely the spicy check. Ice is the, hey, well, I've got everything. I can come do it. We're gonna go be silly and see if we can do something nice.
Mm-hmm.
Spy is gonna get knowledge that his Quake Medallion is completely and totally useless, and we'll see if he decides to jump into Mire after checking Mire Shed here and getting not a whole lot of armor correctly.
Yeah, looks like Spy's going for Mire.
Yep, so this is going to be 5 checks in logic, with a 6th potential if you're feeling real spicy. Although, honestly, powder does make that quite a bit more friendly. Having something that replenishes your health at a whim is super nice in these later dungeons.
I think Spy might have a red potion.
Yes. Should have 2, actually, because there was 1 in the waterfall for the refill there, which I believe they both took. And they also both grabbed a red goo out of Hype Cave. So they both should have 2. As we see the big key to Thieves Town, and I'm pretty sure that's within logic. Don't quote me, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm fairly certain that is a within logic check.
And that's just a yuck right there.
Yes. Especially since we have the small and we don't have a hammer.
Mire, small in Mire. Sean's going to use the key to check Harmless Hellway, so he's going to need at least 1 more later.
Unless this is a pendant, yep.
We've already confirmed it's a crystal.
Oh, that's right. This one and TR. Spy making good use of that hook shot. Unfortunately, this upcoming room is going to drain him of a bit of magic to try and keep those hearts going, as Sean is doing a wonderful hammer up here. Looks like setup is good, and that's going to be 3 more checks. Small key at GT, okay. So, pod turning up empty logically. We do still have 1 more check here we're going to see from Sean. Unless he didn't get Stelfo's basement, then we might see another check as well. But I honestly have not been keeping track. And yeah, it looks like he is trying to get out of here, I believe.
Well, he can't. He doesn't have any more keys. If he's trying to, he's probably just trying to dig a death board.
Yeah, it's a good call. I didn't notice. I keep forgetting that that is a key door from the other side.
Got a big key to Eastern. Okay,
Oh.
that's
a direction.
yeah. Okay, you'll take that right now.
Absolutely, yeah. That's now 5 checks in logic, and I don't think the Eastern Dark Room is going to scare anybody. So that's a full clearable dungeon that you can go do right now. Please and thank you. That's about as good as you could hope for, outside of just the game actually handing you the hammer like a decent game.
So yeah, that's all you come out of here with in Mire. I think you're happy. Sean's going to go check the front of Escape, which will get him powder and cape, but nothing necessarily required. Now, Spy's going to have to be careful in these next few rooms.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, yeah, he's got little help. Or not little health.
Yeah, the 2 red goos and the powder that is available once you're done with these rooms does make this a little bit easier, but you still got to get through this first couple. First room was done nicely. Now just got to not get whacked by the Stelfos here. And then go dodging spikes or put on a cape. But the problem with putting on a cape is that you really want that magic. Spy has decided to put on the cape and waste a little magic there to be able to prep for that. Unfortunately, that's going to make video a little more difficult.
Yep, Spy's through the worst of that, and he's got powder to refill his health.
Yep, and it's a good idea to do so because I'm pretty sure that Vidi does 3 hearts of damage on blue. Well, definitely does more than 2, so.
He's got an anti-fairy up here.
Yep. Now we're sitting at 2 red goos, a cape, and a red sword. So we'll see how it goes. Spy showing one of the wonderful nuances of the cape. If you are slashing, then your magic is not draining. And just like that, avoid the last lightning, put 8 arrows into the big eyeball, and you have your first dungeon.
Oop. I think that sword beam might have canceled that 8th arrow.
Okay, fine. Put 9 arrows into Cold Stare, and
I'm wondering how we just fought Cold Stare.
look, man. It's an eyeball. An eyeball's an eyeball. Cold Stare, Argus, Vidi, whatever.
Did we see a Dark Cross from Spy?
I do not think so.
So this is a check Spy might have left behind.
I'm almost positive that it is, because he didn't have a sword at this point. And this without a sword is significantly more difficult. It's also on the list of technically out of logic checks that obviously isn't going to stop anyone at this level.
Alright, let's see. That's a small key to Skullwoods. You need 1, but that's not going to really change this race at all.
No, unless the other 2 are somewhere absolutely awful, that's not going to be a big deal. Especially since we still haven't seen a fire rod, so...
Sean heading back to the CAC portal.
Okay, so is this going to be a Thieves Town play then?
I think so. I don't think there's anything else he can do here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Wouldn't be going back into pod, so yeah, I think this is it. So this is interesting. This is where this is where the true divergence occurs. We are now in completely different locations. And honestly, this could end up being either an enormous find for Sean, should the next 3 checks in Thieves Town or Green Pendant be useful, or quite a bit of a time waste.
No, so far nothing in Eastern. Next will be the big chest, which got the big key just out of Mire.
Right, and this will be the last check that's within logic, at least with everything that we have. Okay, so time to go get the big chest, and then the Armless Knights. Meanwhile, Hellway not being terribly fun for Sean there.
And here's the first check coming up in Thieves Town. Just 10 arrows.
So, at least with that hammer not in Mire yet, to be fair, we have not checked the 2 chests on the left, because we don't have a fire source. We're really starting to run out of locations for this stupid hammer. Yeah, Spy, you can't powder the anti-fairies that are spinning.
No, there is a fairy you can grab if you need it.
Yes, but you can't powder the spinning anti-fairies, which you just
Correct.
tried to do.
Alright, next check in Thieves Town. Oh!
Okay, well, the jury's out on that one. The only thing that unlocks right now is access into Desert, which we do have the small key. So that's a handful of checks. That's 1 that you can look at and 3 more that you can grab. But yeah, again, by the noise that you made, JP, not exactly where we want to be going right now. Another dungeon that we can take a long walk to and go into, but not clear.
Yeah. I never like seeing that book. You just... Ugh.
Yeah, and it doesn't even help us in terms of tablets that we can grab, because we can't grab either of them yet. So go read Ped, but without easy access to getting into the pet area, that's not going to be done anytime soon either. Meanwhile, blind is done, and small shield there. So this is going to be either a green pendant or that book. Or Sean just sunk quite a bit of time into Thieves Town. Small key to TR, okay, and there's a pendant. Okay, so that's our second pendant.
So both runners just did a pendant dungeon, even if one didn't think they were doing the pendant dungeon.
Right, exactly. It'll be interesting to see if Sean goes straight into Thasrala, and turns in that green pendant. Which, no, it doesn't look like that's happening.
Spy's making the Ice Palace dip.
I'm not surprised. Spy is a huge fan of Ice Palace and will jump into Ice Palace, especially without a hammer, anytime you give him the opportunity. I've been waiting for him to do this, honestly.
So, again, these diverging routes continue to diverge. They're getting further and further apart. The question is, who's just going to come up with that item first? Or we'll both come up with a different item that the other's going to need later.
Honestly, with Key Sanity and with all the stuff that we need, that is relatively likely. Just bombs on the torch. So nothing there yet. Meanwhile, with the Cane of Samaria, Spy is going to be able to clear everything except for the boss and the actual hammerlock chest in here. Oh, and the big chest, because we do not have the big key, at least as of yet. Uh-oh.
That is a required book.
Yeah. Yep, with that mirror there, that's the only way that you're getting... Oh my goodness, okay. Alright, so Mirror at this point gives us access to a whole bunch of things. None of them are great. We have access to Mire. We have access to Checkerboard, which we're going to go grab now, I would presume. Graveyard Ledge is in logic. We could go do the first 2 checks in Swamp.
Now, that's kind of bad for Spy, but if Spy pulls the hammer out of here, then that's just double ugly.
Yeah, if Spy pulls something out of here that's, like, particularly useful, I'm not gonna have any clue on who's ahead or in a better situation. Like, honestly, if Spy even pulls, like, a fire source right now, that might be a huge deal. So this seed is getting more and more fun as it goes along.
Spy's got 2 more checks. This room plus iced tea.
I mean, on a list of things that are nice to have, Silver's is relatively high. On a list of things that we need, not as much. You know, with all this like backtracking and trying to figure out stuff, we could have at least gotten the boots, right?
Yeah, that would have been nice.
So what do you think the next play is here? Density in Hera? I feel like for Sean?
Oh my!
Holy crap. Okay. Right, so Spy is going to go ahead and take that hammer, and he's going to beat Cold Stare relentlessly with it. Actual Cold Stare this time, not fake Cold Stare like I mentioned the other time. And Sean is probably going to go into Hera, if I had to guess, or just do some overworld checks. It's also possible. And this is gonna get really, really interesting, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how to think about this one. It's going to be a long time before we know who's ahead or who's behind or what anything right now.
Right. The big problem right now is that book is required and it's buried in a pendant dungeon. That's going to be Spy's biggest issue. Sean's issue is going to be kind of like, how long do you go do one-offs that are out of the way and might not get you anything before you jump into Ice Palace is going to be the interesting call there. Because Sean could feasibly, as Spy completely whiffs on that and is now in one-hit KO for the eyeballs, because they do 3 hearts of damage. Because Sean could feasibly go do this, you know, finish this out, go do Eastern, for instance. And then, or go do Hera, go do Eastern, and then go jump into Ice and be okay. Not really a big loss then. But it's just, everything's just up in the air, and with that Mire and the book, I mean, that opens up Ether Tablet, that opens up Bombo's Tablet, it opens up Graveyard Ledge. This seed is just not opening in a friendly way, but in a very, you know, one check here, one check there sort of way. As Spy does manage the Cold Stare fight, and that is the second crystal for him.
Okay, so for Spy, I think he might be going to Hera here. No, he's floating away.
Tracy in chat bringing up Spy did not check the hammer lock chest in Ice Palace. And I can absolutely guarantee you that was not on purpose. That was an accident.
I mean, that chest's a bit tough to get back to from where you picked up the hammer.
Oh, absolutely. But it's also a situation that might be something that's required, and if it is, then, you know, unless Sean does the same thing, which is possible with the, you know, Ice Tea Hammer, it's going to be a situation where there could be a huge swing.
The one thing it does do is that now there's 2 items left behind an ice versus 1. So
I don't think Spy knows there are 2 items left behind an ice.
Oh, you think he's thinking that he got the one hammer locked one?
Based upon my high level of familiarity with Spy, he has not at this moment realized that he left that. It might be something that 30 minutes down the road, when that becomes relevant, he'll be like, oh, did I check that? But right now, I can almost guarantee you at 100% that he has no idea.
Well, Sean ran out of magic, froze one of the jellies to get a full magic refill, so he can powder an anti-fairy to refill his health.
And I don't know that I agree with this. I feel like you go up the stairs and you deal with that anti-fairy there. But he does manage to get it, got the full health, now we're going into Infinity.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would have just gone up the stairs and dealt with this one. This one comes right to you.
Especially with 2 hearts, so even if you mess up that doorway and you end up taking a whack from the fire snake, it's not the end of the world. But that is some really clean spins from Sean. And yep, there we go. That was a really nice one cycle.
You know, those aren't jelly. Jelly was the first word that came to my mind. Like, Spy got Cold Stare wrong. I got the name of those wrong.
Yeah, you can add that because I'm not Spy. We're watching Spy. I'm Hammer.
Can I just step away from whatever.
Yeah, I got you. Anyway, so Spy is going to go ahead and finish this as JP is taking a breather to remember his co-com's name. Sean is going to go ahead and grab Checkerboard Cave here as Spy forgets he doesn't have the hammer activated. I think he's going straight to the back, which I don't dislike the play. You have to kill this boss. Just go ahead and knock it out.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a standard play. I like it. Just go get... Yeah, you know it's a crystal. You want to clear it, just clear it.
Yeah, I don't remember where that other pod key is, though. Do you know what pod key Sean has that Spy does not? Oh, was it? Oh, it was Catfish.
Oh, yep.
So yeah, Catfish had that pod key that is currently the discrepancy between our two runners.
So Sean's heading to Hera. He can get everything here except for the basement. He has the key to the basement, but no fire source to get the chest.
And this lack of fire source at an hour is starting to get ridiculous.
Oh, we're also going to get to see Ether Tablet.
Yep. So there's going to be 5 checks that we'll be able to get our hands on, plus this one. So 6 total. Okay, just bombs there.
Yeah, we're an hour in. Look at how much we still have to do in this seed.
I mean, look at how much we don't have. I mean, yeah, because sometimes Key Sanity is a little late on the clearing stuff. You know, sometimes you can be an hour in and only have a couple of dungeons done, but you would at least have a smattering of keys, as we see another pod key sitting there in the annex. And you know, you have a direction to go in. I feel like for both of our runners, they're both missing a very crucial part of this game. And that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out as, you know, Helmasaur goes down without too much difficulty, and there's a big key to Swamp, okay? Spy could feasibly do that once he gets his hand on a Mire. So there's that too. Meanwhile, Hera not being useful thus far. We will get a Moldorm fight here. We still also have a third pendant that is somewhere, unless I've missed it. We have not seen that one yet.
I think we're down to a 50-50 between Desert and Skullwoods.
Yeah, that sounds right. Skullwoods is completely useless in terms of it being a pendant or a crystal. You still need everything, regardless because of TR. But Desert could mean that we wouldn't need the big.
So Sean's got Hera done. That's his second crystal. Both runners have 2 crystals at this point. Spy's got 1 expedition. No, Spy's got 3 crystals, sorry.
Yeah, Spy has the third one, and a hammer, and Sean has a book and a mirror. And Sean's about to go get a second pendant to go with his 2 crystals.
Oh yeah, he's going to Eastern. They got that Eastern big out of Mire.
Right, which absolutely makes sense. I don't think there was anything in Eastern, but, I mean, this is the next play that makes sense, especially because for Sean, it's a 1 in 3. I don't think Sean has any knowledge of Eastern. So, it's maybe a crystal, it's definitely full clearable, and you're not going to be leaving anything behind. So, like, it's pretty much everything that you want to keep sanity.
So let's see. Looking at Spy's going to do the Dark Maze here. Looking what he's got left, he can. Oops, got to reset that. He can go clear Hera after the basement line there as well. Yeah, you have to go downstairs, Spy, to reset that one.
Super tile.
Oh, he's just saying I don't want to deal with it.
I don't think there was anything in there.
There was not.
So that's going to be 5 items left behind in pod for Spy, as opposed to Sean's 2 plus Helmsor.
Ooh, okay, Spy is he's checking magic bats.
Yeah, which makes sense. So this will complete the Smith chain for him, and then we'll see. I think best case scenario at this point, he goes into Thieves Town, even though I don't feel like that's what he'll do. Although, honestly, really the only other play he has is Hera, and that is a long...
Well, look at what Spy has. He's got the Turtle Rock big and 3 smalls. Could he make a play into Turtle Rock?
I don't know. It's definitely possible. I feel like he'd do Hera first anyways, right?
Yeah,
so
you absolutely do Hera first.
The initial play is either going to be Thieves Town or Hera. And then after Hera, maybe TR. Maybe he starts looking at TR sideways. But it does look like he's going to go do at least some of Thieves Town, so...
Yeah, he's going to the portal. I can't think of anything else he'd come into this portal for. He's just come here to do hammer pegs.
Oh, that is a... I feel like at that point, you go do Green Pendant, Thieves Town. If you're gonna walk your butt all the way over here to go do hammer pegs, you go do Thieves Town too.
Yeah, and he's walking that way. He's in the Thieves Town play.
So that's interesting. Okay, so now that Spy's gonna pull his book out of here, and be able to check that big chest, that could end up being something.
Yeah, that big chest is anything. Spy, we now know, but Spy has a pretty big lead. But
yeah, if that big chest is anything, then like there has to be something in the Ice Palace chest. I feel like for Sean to have be in an equally good situation to Spy. But so now we've gotten to, as Sean is running through this Eastern Palace Dark Room. What do his next plays look like? Eastern's going to be done. Hera's already done. Pod is pretty much cleared out.
Yeah, he could dip in front of Swamp. It's ugly, but you can do it.
He could. I feel like Ice Palace is just faster. You know what I mean? Like, especially with that flute in hand.
Yeah.
I feel like if he goes and dips Swamp, that tells me that he feels like he's behind, at least in my opinion. Because I feel like Ice is just the better play. You're going to get more checks, because you're only going to pull 2 out of Swamp. And it's a long walk. So I feel like he's going to be going into Ice next. That's fair. We do have a couple of mirror checks as well. Graveyard Ledge is there. I don't think we've gotten 45 yet, so K45 is also an option.
Yeah, you could easily route K45 on your way down to Swamp. I do agree that Ice is...
and Bombo's Tablet, actually. So that's 4 items. It's not as bad as just walking over to Swamp. But we are going to get a Green Pendant check, actually. Which isn't as huge of a play as it may have been as Spy is currently sitting here at Thieves Town. Just a compass. Okay, well, you can keep it.
But Spy is going to get the one check that is going to be big for Sean.
Wait. Is Sean... Okay, so this is either Graveyard... Yeah, this is Graveyard Ledge.
Graveyard Ledge or K45 to Swamp.
Or K45 to Swamp, yeah.
Oh my man!
That is
So, yeah, what you were saying now comes into play. Something's got to be in the Ice Palace big chest that Sean gets.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that has to... I feel like if in order for this to be close at this point, Sean, there needs to be something in that chest. Or in the big chest, if he pulls, like, Ice Palace Big Key out of, one of these next handful of checks. Then that could obviously definitely increase his odds. But yeah, that's just, that's rough for Sean, unfortunately.
You had to dip Ice Palace without the hammer before coming to Thieves Town for this to play out this way. Like, it's just...
Right, and that's after pulling an in-logic Big Key of Thieves Town out of pod. It's like you go into pod because it has the density. You get the Big Key to Thieves Town. You had to say, no, I'm going into ice first. And that might not even be a good play either, because, I mean, if there's something in, like, the Ice Palace Big Chest, and that Ice Palace Big Key sitting on, like, 45 here, or in Swamp or something, then it's just you're just going to have to check everything 4 times. Welcome to Key Sanity.
So, for Spy at this point, after this, I can't imagine he doesn't go to deserts. Like, there's no reason not to at this point.
There's a chance that he jumps into Hera first. I'm actually, yeah, because he doesn't have a Skullwoods Small yet, so Skullwoods is out of the option for him. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a long route up towards Hera. But no, it does look like he is fluting, which means he's probably going in the desert. Yep.
And our tracker brings up an interesting point. This desert dip could put Spy in go mode, depending on what the last crystal is.
That's a good point.
If the last crystal is Skull Woods, then yeah, I think Spy's in go mode. But if the last crystal is deserts,
then we still need that big. Yeah, this is... That's interesting. So the last hope for Sean at this point is Desert Big somewhere just dumb.
Yeah.
Although, where was that ice rod?
Over here, on right side desert.
Or 2, right, never mind. I was like, I don't remember where the ice rod is off the top of my head. We haven't seen that yet. I would have laughed harder than I had any right to if Spy had mirrored out.
So yeah, if I don't fully know what Spy's crystal now is. I'm assuming it's the same as what we know. But yeah, if at this point, yeah, he's going to 3. You do Skullwoods. You kill Moth. If it's a crystal, you know you're in go mode. If it's not a crystal, then you know you have to find the Desert Big.
I don't know that he knows about Swamp, because we only know about Swamp from the 5-6 crystal guy, right? Never mind. He's checked it. Okay, I wasn't sure.
He did talk to the 5-6 crystal guy.
I remembered Sean doing it. I don't remember him doing it. What are you doing now?
Spy did it because he skipped Hype Cave to go talk to the 5-6 crystal guy.
Don't remind me. I need to go kick his butt about that later.
Bombo's tablet check for Sean. Here's a red book.
No, he doesn't have a Skullwood Small Key.
Oh, you're right. They both burned a Skullwood Small early. He needs a Skullwood Small to... Yeah, he needs a Skullwood Small for go mode.
I have no idea where that Small Key was either.
It was somewhere that was kind of not great for Sean.
Pod? I feel like Pod had the Skullwood Small. Or one of them. Because then you made a comment of not really a big deal. Unless we can't find another one. Yeah, so for those of you who weren't around, Spy did the traditional run into the middle room, check the vanilla big key chest, actually, I think, for Skullwoods. And then go through the main door, steal the key, go around. But then what he also did was, after he was done with all that fun stuff, he decided that he wanted to accidentally drop down into the pinball room again. So he still had to S and Q. And that is currently an issue, because he needs one of those small keys.
And he's gonna do Swamp first now.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Sean, unfortunately, nothing out of Swamp. He is running out of options. He's gonna be forced to ice soon.
But not quite yet. Where's he even?
He's going to ice now.
Okay.
Oh no, he's gonna go get the Zora item. He never got that.
I have no idea what that was. I don't remember it being useful, but it was something.
It was junk. It might have been a map or a compass. Oh, it was Quake. That's right. We thought about it at the time, like that could be big, right. But then right afterwards, Sean checked Mire, and I'm like, oh, okay, you don't need that.
Okay, so now this game gets kind of interesting for Spy. There are 2 keys? 3 keys. 3 keys to Skullwoods. We know one of them's gonna be out of reach because I'm pretty sure it's in pot. He's not going back there.
Was that Dark Cross, maybe? Actually?
Oh no, you're right. You're right. It's Dark Cross. Good call. Okay, so one of them's Dark Cross. We're not going to be seeing that one most likely because he's probably forgotten about that location, or at least isn't going to go there right now. So we have 2 more, and one of them needs to show up.
And what map is this? Swamp, that doesn't help.
That's completely useless.
Now Sean's gonna go to Ice Palace.
And all this, ironically enough, we don't even know if we need this Skullwood small. Like, we could very well instead need the Desert Palace big.
Well, if you get that instead, then that's fine. You just go do Desert instead.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Sean's going in here. He never found the Ice Palace big, so unfortunately will not be able to check that chest, but he could check that one chest that Spy left behind. Oh, big key to Skullwoods. Oh wrong size key.
Right, either wrong size key or wrong dungeon. Like, either way would have gotten us something. It could have been the big for Desert, or it could have been a small for Skull, and it would have been fine. But they just had to kind of split the middle and just laugh at us.
Just money in those chests.
It'll be interesting to see if Spy decides to come back into Swamp. Nice red mount. So this is one of the 5/6s, the other one being TR, which that's a not fun possibility as well.
Spy did the same thing I've been doing lately, and that's trying to do spin strats on Argus when you have a tempered sword. You don't need to do it. I've made that same mistake too many times, so.
I think he was actually trying to set up a quick kill there, but you know, he doesn't have boots, so that's not something you can do.
That Mire small grab that Sean just grabbed also reminds me we still have 2 checks in Mire.
Yep, 2 checks in Mire. Spy currently has 2 in Swamp that we haven't seen. There is 1 in Hera that we haven't seen. Yeah, it's a mess. Spike Cave we haven't seen. Yeah, there's a handful of locations, unfortunately. A very large handful.
Spy is not going back into Swamp. He's going to leave left side behind.
I feel like Sean definitely checked this, but I don't remember what it was.
He did. I don't think it was anything important.
Or just like 10 errors or something.
Oh, red boomerang. Just
even worse.
And Sean's finally gonna get his hammer at just under an hour 20.
And that is a terrible thing to, like, last location. There's some serious thought about, okay, what do I have left in this dungeon? What do I do?
Yeah, he's going for the chest that... No, maybe not. He's just gonna go to Cold Stare too.
Huh. Well, never mind then. We won't see what's over there. Yeah, Spy is finally taking the plunge up the mountain. It's going to be interesting for him because this is Hera and TR, which is why I feel like he was hesitant to come up here. But it's Hera, TR, and an Ether Tablet as well as Spike Cave, and we need either the big key for Desert or we need a small for Skullwoods. Nice fight from Sean. Like, it wasn't absolutely perfect, but that was a really nice fight.
Okay, Sean is going back in to check the 1 chest.
Yeah, so with 3 keys, Spy will be able to do everything except for the lava chest, if he so chooses. And then with what he has for Hera, he'll be able to do everything in Hera if he so chooses, and then we'll probably get a tablet check and a Spike Cave check should the rest of this not be helpful. And if this check ends up being a small key to Skullwoods for Sean, then Spy is going to be looking at a 1 of 1 for whichever dungeon he needs to clear.
Alright, we're about to get this checked, dude. Oh, that's a big find for Spy. I'd mirror out right now and check that.
Especially with that small key, yep! And just a compass for Thieves down there.
It's a pendant!
It's a pendant! We need the Desert Pig! That's hilarious. TR immediately bails out, and then it's just like, no, just kidding. You could get back in here. You're not in go mode. Alright, so, I mean, honestly, at this rate, this is anyone's match again, because that Desert Pig could be in a lot of places, honestly.
Yeah, Sean's going into Swamp. We'll see if he checks left side, because again, that's something Spy left behind. That might be Sean's out here. Is Desert Big on left side swamp?
Yeah, that would do it. Oh, my goodness. Well, all right, add it to the list.
I don't have any more room on my list. I filled up this page.
And they're all 1s and 2s. Yeah, that was the Ice Palace big for Spy over there, if you guys didn't see. So at this point, we only have one big left, I believe, and it's the one we need. Well, technically, we have a big for GT, but that's where it's supposed to be, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say that Spy skipped another location just now. Obviously, it's the location that he needs to skip if he wants to complete this dungeon, but there's another location you can add to your list that has no more room.
Alright, so Spy probably gonna give us the Mimic Cave check.
Yeah, at this point, you're checking everything, because you're not coming back for it. So
Sean doesn't have the swamp big, but we do know... Wait, what was in the swamp big chest? Oh, it was the Skull Woods big in the swamp big. We don't know if that's not needed or not. Oh, man.
Well, speaking of things that we're not sure if it's needed or not... Yep.
Sean's checking left side swamp. Oh, that's another check is,
There's
there's
two more checks in pod we don't know, because we don't know Harmless Hellway, and we don't know the big key chest.
We did see Harmless Hellway.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just the vanilla big key chest then. Okay. And TR is just continuing on and not giving us what we need.
Like I said, I think this is Sean's out here. Is if Desert Big on left side swamp, then he's got a fighting chance.
I mean, or honestly, if Desert Big is on the pod vanilla big key chest, then it's just anyone's game. Like, that's just your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea where this one's going to go.
Yes, chat bringing up a good point. We have no idea where Lamp is. Not on Laser Bridge. We know that much. There it is.
Okay, so at an hour and 27, and he knows it, Spy is in go mode. Goodness gracious, this seed.
At this point, I'm going to say Lamp in the back of Skull Woods. I think that'd be logical.
Where was that fire on again?
Thieves Town, big chest. You didn't need the Thieves Town big key was not in a dark room, so
Right. Yeah, that's an option. That's a possibility. Gosh, this seed's just a mess.
I feel like at this point I want to say something like, friends don't let friends play Key Sanity.
That's what I keep telling Spy.
Alright, so that's Spy's 5th crystal. He needs to go back down to finish Desert, and then he could do Hera right before GT.
Yep. And then we get to play another GT. We get to play another big key guessing game.
Now, there is still one stupid possibility.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't you
dare. I've already said it several times.
Oh, yeah, boots might be required. Oh, Argus with the juke there.
I know the logic on this seat is a bit messy, but if the GTB key's at Shack Tool, that's just going into another realm of messiness.
Is that locked behind like Ether Medallion or something? You're gonna have to freshen my memory on logical requirements for Shack Tool.
Alright, what's Sean's next play?
Honestly, I feel like if the GT big is on the torch, then the play to win this game is to forfeit.
Might be. But Sean is heading back to this portal. I'm trying to think what else he's still got here. Could he be making the Thieves Town play?
I mean...
Oh, this is still his only portal. No, he's got a hammer. Never mind.
Yeah. And it's not Thieves Town. Oh, it could be hammer bags.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of his best chances to get back into Thieves Town, so...
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, it would be really nice if it did. But yeah. I feel like if you're gonna do it, you wouldn't walk by it.
He's not one from go mode. We know he needs he needs the desert big.
Yeah, but that's at least along the way. Alright, Spy giving us an inventory check. 1 blue, 1 red. Time to climb. Well, Hera first.
He'll go to the TR portal and then Mire in front of GT.
Yep.
But Sean is going back into Thieves Town. He's going to go check that big chest to get his fire rod, which will put him back on the path. But at this point, the one thing we don't want to see has to happen.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't want to see it. I was just saying don't say it out loud. I mean, if you say it, this is being recorded. If you say this out loud, people are going to blame it on you. So I was just for your own sake.
Yeah, I have not said it out loud yet.
I'm not saying I don't want to see it. I'm just saying, you know, don't be the one to speak it into existence. Alright, so Sean pulling his fire rod here. Yeah, Spy trying to swing a tempered sword at a fireball. That doesn't work. Alright, quick climb of Hera.
Now, Sean's going in the back of Skullwoods. He doesn't know the last crystal.
Right, and because he has that small key, there's absolutely no reason to delay on this. Oh, that messed him up. Yep, picking up that magic. We'll see. Alright, so Spy is skipping absolutely everything. Or at least skipping the annex chest. We'll see if, Yep. We're going straight to Moldorm, and then straight up GT. We should probably start fun. Where do you want this big key to be?
I mean, I know what I want to keep this team going, give Sean a chance, but realistically, let's just say in Stealth Post Room.
If I'm being 100% honest, I don't know that Sean wants the big key to be on the torch. Like, even if Sean could be sitting here watching this, like, I'm not sure that if I were in Sean's shoes, I would want the big key to be on the torch. I probably would, because I'd be playing against Spy and want to beat him at all costs. But
I mean, unless the boots are at Skull Woods.
Absolutely, right, sure. If Moth drops boots, then, or if they're on Ped, which he honestly is probably going to check next, since this is going to be the third pendant for him. If it's in one of those two spots, then sure, heck it, throw it on the Ped. But, I don't know, let's be nice, right? Spy's had a long enough game. Let's just put it on the tile room.
We're gonna find out right now.
Might as well check it first. Okay, right. And we are safe. Alright, so that was one for you guys keeping track at home as Moth drops the third pendant and a piece of heart. And Spy doing the revised Dark Magician strats, which I don't believe I've ever seen him do. But hey, you want to check the, as we pull butter, you want to check that torch as quick as you can, so. Oh, wow! There was a... That's dirty! For those of you who missed that check, there was a small key for Skull Woods on the bridge. So technically, Spy.
There's the lamp.
All right, and that is going to be all for me. I'm going to be trusting JP in the booth for you guys for the rest of the night. I am going to bed because this seed has. I'm done. Then yeah, bye. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, what was that?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a lamp on Ped before.
Well, there are so many dungeons that have dark rooms on top of the possibility of lamp being required as just a fire source that it's not a likely occurrence. I really hope the big key is in this room. Awesome. Amazing. Because I know that Spy went back and checked this room because I keep yelling at him to check the right side first if he can. So I didn't want to be given a hard time in this interview. The fun part about this partial key sanity, though, is that Spy did have a metric load of GT smalls, so didn't have to worry about grabbing that other key, but...
Yeah, he's got 2 keys. He's fine for the climb. Yeah, let's just a quick look at our pendant. Yeah, you logically had to have Fire Rod because of Skullwood, but also because of Eastern. Eastern expects you to have the Fire Rod to clear it.
Yeah, I am not going to spend the next 10-15 minutes trying to figure out what the heck was required for what. I am just going to smile and nod and make commentary on Spy being bad through the gauntlet.
That's fair. Like, this is one where if you try to... If you hand somebody a spoiler log and say, okay, here's your spoiler log race.
No! That's terrible! This one might legitimately take an hour and 15 minutes. Like, unless you're giving someone, you know, half an hour to parse through it. Like, if we're going with the traditional 15 minutes beforehand. I don't know, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. This is one, yeah, you just, at the end of it, you just forget about unless you don't like somebody, then maybe.
I know, the really unfortunate part is that the person that, oh my goodness, he almost died, is that the person that I would give this seed to is currently playing it, so I can't even do that. Maybe Reg, maybe Reg isn't watching, and I can give the seed to him.
Ooh, these land molders are not being nice.
Land Mode 2 is terrible. I don't care what anyone says. It's one of my least favorite boss fights in this entire game. So, now that we've found out where the, as Spy falls off. Now that we found out where the lamp is, and that was one of our big curiosities for this seed. Boots? Anyone?
Good question. I feel like this is almost a situation where I kind of hope we wouldn't see this, but this is almost a situation where there's somewhere at the top of GT as a final, as a final word of thanks for playing this seed.
I feel like if the boots are on top of GT here, it's not saying thanks for playing this seed, but yes, I can see where you're going with that. Yeah.
I think that's the nicest way I can put it.
And there was absolutely nothing on torches because the GT torches had $5 and the desert torch had like a piece of heart or something. So there's nothing in the way of trying to help you figure out where they could or couldn't have been.
No, we're not even going to find out because Spy is not interested in opening any more chests.
No, I mean, he's got gold sword and silvers, and you don't care. At this point, you're just trying to clear stuff. Especially because both of our runners probably feel like they routed the seed terribly. Because
it feels like they cleared so much of this seed, yet their health is not even on a second row of hearts.
Yeah, see, I was going to say that, but I'm always the one that complains about health, so I was trying not to mention it. But yeah, 10 hearts for a 145 seed, which is what this is going to end up being, 145 something, is just a mess. Like, it's a mess. And given it was a 145 seed, like, without boots and with a really weird set of, go here, now go there, now go here, now go there. But even if you handed someone the boots, like, right off the bat, just for movement capabilities, you're not clearing this seed in under, like, 130. And that's if you completely know how, like, you just get really lucky on how you route it. So, it's just messy. Just a single to start him off with. And some, yeah, that was a nice blue ball there, just to completely knock you out of your rhythm. This one shouldn't be too bad. Just one more there with another blue ball, so we're up to 2 shots. That's a nice double. So 1, 0, 1, 2. And can we get another double out of it? Yes, we can. 1, 0, 1, 2, 2. As Sean is ever nearing the last item that he's going to need. Alright, so with Gold Sword, this is pretty basic here. 6 slashes for phase 1, 6 slashes for phase 2, and then 4 for 3, and then we finish it off with 4 silver arrows to various and sundry body parts of the pig to finish us off.
Oh, Sean, take go mode, and he is on his way out.
Yeah, Sean not interested in clearing any extra chests either.
And Ganon's trying to extend the seed a little longer.
Well, Ganon realized that when I said 145, I gave a little too much time, so he's just trying to make it close for me. I appreciate it. So, the interesting thing about Group B right now, also known as Group Brisket, is that if Spy can finish this out, every single player in this group will be 500. Sean and Spy will be sitting at 2-2, and T-Stew and Vextifer will be sitting at 1-1. Sean currently sitting 2-1, and Spy at 1-2. And actually, that does not include the game that I believe just took place at T-Stew versus Vextifer, but I would not be spoiling that anyways, so.
Ganon is down.
Yep, now the final boss, a 1x3 bridge, and then you guys can get your GGs in chat for Spy. And unfortunately, in spite of this seed and Ganon's best efforts to delay it, Spy finishes in first place with a final racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 55 seconds.
Get your GGs in chat, get your cat pics in the Discord.
Yes, please. I love cat pictures. Or turtle pictures. Love turtle pictures. So that works too. Oh man. Okay, so lamp on Ped, and everything else was wherever it wanted to be. Does that sum it up?
Yeah.
And we are joined in the booth by the key seeker himself, GG Spyweaver.
Thank you.
Hey, do you know where the lamp was?
I don't know and really don't care, I guess. I didn't need it, so...
It's on Ped!
Oh, that's gross.
Yep. So how about that Ice Palace play?
Man, you know me in Ice Palace. I'm dipping that 10 times out of 10 over pot when I don't have a hammer.
I know you were. As soon as I saw that hammer, I was like, oh, well, dang it. And then you left, I don't know if you know, but you left a second chest behind in Ice.
The big chest, the hammer-locked one. And that was about it, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if immediately afterwards you were aware of that.
I was, but, you know, I kind of gave it a side eye and figured, well, it's deep enough in there that if there's something there, oh well, I guess let's follow everything this hammer just gave me instead.
Well, let the record show that he deserved a little more credit than I gave him, because I thought that you had just gotten really happy about finding it in Iced Tea and then hadn't thought about it.
Look, man. I realized, like, last league season I couldn't count, but this is a different time, man. This is a different time.
No comment. So it was really interesting for a bit there, because there was a Skullwood Small in the Dark Cross, which you had left behind. So we were sitting here and going, okay, there's one in Dark Cross that Spy's probably not going to get to, and there's 3 in the entire game. Back when we thought it was a 50-50, this was before you pulled the map for Skullwoods and the small for Skullwoods out of TR. And then, of course, you pull the small for Skullwoods out of TR, following the map, and then JP is like, just mirror out and go check, right? Because if that's it, then you're in go mode, and sure enough, you mirror out, and it's a pendant, and we both kind of chuckle about that, because, you know, the seat's just gonna laugh at you.
Pretty much. I mean, I got to the point there where it's like, okay, I either need to find the Desert Big or a Skullwood Small, since You know, I have this maybe bad habit of always stealing that back key and running through the entire front of Skullwoods into Key Sanity. But that map just being right there, beside a small, you know, for Skullwoods, I'm like, well, I can't not mirror right now and know what I'm looking for, so what the heck.
Yeah, that's fair. The interesting thing is that you got away with only clearing about half of Pod, which was again kind of an interesting. I think you left 5 items behind in there, so that was fun.
7-ish, I think. I don't know. I had 2 small keys. I had the big key. I figured, let's go kill the boss. Let's work my way then back to front. And then I just kind of numptied and fell when I was gonna hammer jump. Well, the bridge doesn't reset. Let's go down the stairs. Well, I guess that's out of logic. Let's not deal with it right now. Let's move on. The lamp kind of being as buried as it was bailed me out a little bit from that one too.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. This technically being in all dungeons, or brawler, not Aga required, but technically you do need that lamp. And with as weird as where was the fire route again? That place that was somewhere dumb too, I think. Oh yeah,
big chest of keys, if I remember.
Yeah. So Sean ended up running into Pod quite a bit before you. Pretty much last location the hammer on Ice-T. Like, actually, I'm fairly certain just about last location on Ice-T. And so at that point, you know, he's now finishing up Pod. That put him in kind of a really weird spot. And then you just decided to go into Ice Palace, which was pretty much the big thing. On top of that, Catfish also had a small key to Pod, which could have ended up being useful, but as the Pod didn't really have all that much, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Look, man, you know my thoughts about Pod.
I also know your thoughts about Ice Palace, and at the end, you know, both those thoughts ended up being correct.
Someday it's gonna come to haunt me, but I guess thankfully this seed wasn't one of those days. Ugh.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just, I don't know. Keys is interesting. I am glad that it wasn't an Aga seed, because that's the kind of the thing that I fear the most out of these seeds, with the Aga keys not being shuffled at all. That, you know, the requirements for Aga clearing is quite a bit lower than anything else at that point. But you guys managed to dodge it, even though it was kind of looking like that lamp might be around at some point.
Yeah, I got the 8-bomb pull off the trees, figured let's go do the front of escape, and then immediately pulled that cape, and I'm just like, can we slow down with these kind of items, please? Like, bury that a little bit further, please, and thank you.
Right, so the funny part about that is that wasn't really useful for us, because by the time you had pulled that cape, I think Sean already had 2 swords, or was nearing it. Like, as soon as stuff started to kind of come together with other stuff, where there was, you know, the Moon Pearl was found and all that stuff, it was like, because the Moon Pearl was sitting in Waterfall, so you ended up getting to that a little bit later. At some point it was okay, we're either going to find the mitts, we're going to find the hammer, or we're going to find the lamp, and that's going to be Dark World access, basically.
Right, and honestly, I'm glad I had the mitts before I even found that Moon Pearl, so I didn't even really need to think about doing a Dark Aga, because, I mean, in this seed, with the keys being there, depending on where an item can be, I mean, I'm not afraid to go do a Dark Aga either, you know. Especially if I have that Moon Pearl in tote.
Right, it makes it a lot more valuable of a check, and you're not just running over a pyramid ledge.
And especially since we already had the hook shot in this seed, you know, that would have put me on top of the pyramid and I could just go around and do everything.
Yeah, this seed was definitely a mess. We were trying to keep track of of routing wise what was where, because you guys pretty much did polar opposite things. And it looked like Sean had a bit of a lead because he went into where was the book? He pulled the book out of somewhere and then went in the desert and pulled the mirror. And it was like, oh, this is looking like progression. And obviously at that point you had just gotten into Ice Palace, and it's like, okay, well, Spy's gonna be in Ice Palace, Sean's gonna finish up doing these mirror checks and maybe checking some tablets. And then of course you pull that hammer out of Ice Palace and everything just turns completely on its head.
Yeah, I don't know. Out of all the places the hammer could be, Ice Palace, I think, is the worst of the 3 required dungeons it could be in. But I don't know, especially even when I have that Soma in hand. I mean, I'm never going to shy away from saying, "Hi, Ice Palace. Let's dance, you and I."
Yeah, because that was the interesting thing that JP and I were talking about. It was at some point that there were basically 4 options for finding the hammer in terms of like large areas. You had Pod, you had Eastern, and then you had Ice, and you had Mire. And Mire kind of sucked because even though you could clear it, you didn't have the fire rod. Pod kind of sucked because you couldn't complete it. Eastern ended up being unfortunate in kind of a sneaky way because it ended up being a pendant. You wouldn't know that at the time. And then there was Ice, which you wouldn't be able to clear unless it had the hammer as well. So it was just kind of a, here's 4 things, take your choice. And you guys both did Eastern beforehand, which again makes sense. If you had the bow, you had the big key, it's like, I'm gonna go do that. And I think both of you went into Mire beforehand as well, because again, it's a completable crystal. But yeah, it was interesting. This was a really interesting scene.
Yeah, I don't know. I basically just grabbed the items and followed it. I mean, Mire was the first dungeon I could go into. I think at the time I even knew it was a crystal, so I figured, what the heck, let's go do what I can do out of here, clear it, move on with my life, and kind of go from there. I think, if I remember, I think I pulled the Eastern Palace big key out of there, so I believe I just followed that and just kept going around the loop, so.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing. Speaking of going around the loop, how about forgetting about Hype Cave?
Yeah, I got to Pyramid Ledge and I was like, oh, yeah, there's a cave down there I can get to. Well, let's just S&Q. Catfish can be my orphan spot this time, and let's grab the purple chest and check it and move on.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Both of you definitely gave preference to Smith's Chain over Pod, which I was actually talking about I wouldn't do, most likely, but it makes sense. If you don't have the mirror, Smith Chain does tend to be one of those spots that locks stuff, especially because if you have Mid's Dark World access, then it's right there, just kind of staring at you in the face.
And I honestly hate Mid's Dark World access because it's just one of those, it's just like, well, you're gonna do the whole loop if you want. You pretty much can do Smith, so grab him, I guess, even if you don't have Mirror, because it's gonna be a pain if you don't, and good luck. Have fun.
I think full-on worst-case scenario is when you have Mitts and the flippers, because that's where it gets really weird, because you can jump over there the first time and head into Pod, but then grabbing the Smith is obviously completely useless because Kiki's going to overwrite the Smith. But then if you don't, then you're in a situation where, like, maybe you're leaving Pod behind for another really long walk, especially because the boots were somewhere and we never did find those. But if you don't, then you're walking into Pod and you potentially won't be able to clear it, and that's not fun to get back to either, so it's really just puts you in an ugly spot.
Yeah, it's basically pick what you want to walk back to, and good luck. I mean, Like, so that's why I always like taking the smith, because as you alluded to, I mean, Kiki can overwrite it. So if I find the hammer somewhere along the way, okay, fine, smith, see you later, I'm gonna do pod, but if I don't, okay, I'm turning you in. And I mean, I know it's partially a meme at this point, but how many mirrors have we seen either on smith or in purple chest already this season?
Enough. Definitely enough. Although this time it was sitting in desert along with the ice rod.
Yeah, that was an interesting surprise. Pull both of those and it's like, okay, I think I just need keys, so let's go do the rest of the dungeons now, I think. Yikes.
Yeah, that desert small was one of the most lucrative items we pulled. Like, that thing was nuts.
I can't even remember off the top of my mind where I got it from, but I think even in that situation, if I didn't have it, I would have stole the one from the back and pulled those items and thrown caution to the wind. But I mean, it's key sanity. I mean, whoever does the weirdest things usually sometimes profits. I don't know.
Yeah, this seed could definitely have devolved into something terrible with just the way that stuff was left behind in certain areas. Like, the fire rod location was awful. Was truly awful. Especially because Sean, particularly last locationing that hammer, meant that, you know, he had already cleared all of Thieves Town beforehand. But he was actually relatively quick back, just kind of because there wasn't a whole lot left, but it was, yeah, not fun.
Yeah, I think the Thieves Town Big was in pod, if I remember, so I think I got lucked out and actually had the hammer before I even got that big key, so it wasn't even on the table until then.
Yeah, that's correct. The Thieves Town Big was in pod. It was actually in logic with only the 3 keys that Sean ended up having when he went in there, because it was in the Terrapin chest.
Man, this thing wanted you to do some crazy loops, didn't it?
Yeah, JP and I kind of talked about that back and forth for a little bit, and then I just decided I wasn't going to think too hard on it because, well, it's midnight here, and I don't want to think too hard on key sanity logic. Not for this seed, at least, so. And then, you know, obviously pulling Lamp off of Pet didn't help logic any. At least it gave you an early flute.
Yeah, I kind of saw that, and I noticed how we had talked earlier about, don't skip escape, and I'm like, well, I got the bombs, go to the front, I have the glove, let's go do the back. Oh, hi, flute, that's for you, hammer. That was literally my thought.
Pretty much, yeah. There were 2 points in time where I thought that you probably had me in your ear, and one of them was in the back of escape, and the other one was when in GT you went left first to check the torch, and then just immediately went right and pulled the key.
Yeah, I figured, let's go left, find out if I need to go play the Boots Hunt game, and while I'm going left, let's go do Stalfos' room, and after that, let's just go back to the right since I got the keys and go from there.
Alrighty, and with that insanity over, SeanRhapsody clears the final bridge boss of Zelda and completes this race at 2 hours, 1 minute, and 51 seconds. And that is what happens in Key Sanity when you guess wrong. Alright, so get your GGs in chat for both these runners if you haven't already. This is a really tight group right now. I know there was a race between T-Stew and Vextifer earlier, but I have not looked up the result of that, and even if I did, I am not spoiling it for anyone who may be in chat. So, excluding that game, everybody in this group is 500, which is kind of fun.
Sounds like insanity, just how I like it. Let's go.
Of course you would. Alright, so, Spy, did you have anything you want to add, or JP, did you have anything you wanted to ask him first, I should probably say?
No, I figured I'd let you two talk because you had plenty as you said you wanted to talk to him about it as you were going.
Yeah, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I think he covered most of it. Just you were saying, just look at this as a spoiler log seed. How would that even go? This was just had some really messy logic in it, but and I'm just surprised like a collection at 143, like 143 despite an hour 45, almost an hour 45 of the seed.
Yeah, there was a lot of backtracking. I feel like, Spy, did you double dip anything other than desert?
I don't think so. I don't really think so, no.
Okay, I'm going to ignore however the heck you managed to do that. I'm just going to leave that alone. But yeah, even in spite of that, with no boots anywhere and super just late and silly hammer spot, there was a lot of walking.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah. Drasty says Spy double dip Thieves Town technically.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah, because you did the front and then had to do the back, but that's not too bad.
I guess in my mind, I think of those front, especially in Key Sandy, as overworlds. Oh.
Right, there's 7 overworld checks in Village of Outcasts. 3 of them are outside of Thieves Town, and 4 of them are within.
Essentially, yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. So all of that fun being said, we unfortunately do not have any more rando for the night, but we do have rando starting bright and early tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We have 2 matches, one on SpeedGaming 2, one on SpeedGaming, and then we have a couple of matches throughout the rest of the day as well, so definitely keep an eye on the schedule. If you like what you saw here, other than keeping an eye on the schedule, you're probably also going to want to drop a follow for the SpeedGaming channels. This one as well as SpeedGaming, and then SpeedGaming 2 through 6. Shoutouts to our wonderful tracker, Drosty, who was clicking all the buttons and trying to keep everything somewhat organized through this insane mode and insane seed. I am Hammer Bro. I had a blast common with you, JP. It's been a while. I feel like it's always too long. Then we do this, we have fun, then we, don't do it for another year. But anyways, that's all I've got, so I'm going to give you the last word. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and may your seeds be kinder than this one was.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow.